Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's practice. This class is part of Yoga in Our City's virtual studio, which is sponsored by Kineticare. My name is Emily, and for today's practice, you'll need some props, not necessarily required, just all nice to have for additional support as we move through our flow. I would suggest if you have a blanket, yoga blanket, regular blanket, anything will really work as long as you can roll it up. Grab a blanket. If you have some blocks or a bolster, a pillow, a nice firm pillow works as well. Grab that and have it handy. And then once you have everything gathered up, then we can begin. We will start today's class lying down on our backs. And just take the feet nice and wide. Let the knees knock in together as long as that feels okay. If there's a position lying down that will be a little more sustainable for you, feel free to change it up, modify, however, and that goes for the entirety of our class together. Once you are lying down, just place one hand on the lower belly, one hand on the chest. Allow the eyes to close. I always like to take the first few moments of practice, even if it's going to be a shorter practice, just to arrive on the mat, arrive in your body. Allow yourself a moment of transition. Whether you're just waking up and taking this class or taking it on your lunch break or end of the day, it's always nice to have a few breaths to help you transition and shift from what you've been doing into the mental space, the physical space you want to cultivate on your mat. And we facilitate that shift through our breath. So as you take your next few breaths here, really feel the air move through the chest, expand the chest, deep down in the belly, expand the belly. And then as you exhale, belly drops, chest drops. And we keep our hands placed on the chest and on the belly so that you can tangibly feel that expansion and contraction. Take one more full round of breath here. And then after your next exhale, let your eyes blink open. Extend both legs on the mat, point your toes away, reach the arms out overhead, stretch the fingertips long. And then keeping the left leg extended, hug the right knee in towards the chest. So give it a squeeze in towards center. Maybe rock it a little side to side. Feel how the sensation changes when you bring the knee over to the right side of the body and then back towards center. And then let's take a half happy baby. So reach with the right hand for the right sole of the foot. Pull the knee down towards the floor, right thigh down towards the floor, and then the left hand press and rest on top of the left thigh. So when we're only taking a half happy baby, you might start to feel the left hip lift, rock a little bit towards the right side. Use the left hand to keep the left side flush towards the floor, towards the mat. Keep using the grip of your right hand to draw the right thigh, right knee down towards the floor. Good. Hug the right knee in towards the chest once more. Extend the right leg out long and bring the left knee in, hugging the left knee in towards center. You can start to take that same back and forth motion, drawing the knee over towards the side of the body and then back towards center. Noticing if you feel any tightness, gripping, observing where energy might feel a little stuck. And then reach for the left sole of the foot. Draw the left knee, left thigh down towards the floor. Same thing. You might have already felt that right hip, I know I did, start to lift as soon as you came into your half happy baby. Press the right palm on top of the right thigh. Just a reminder to keep drawing the right hip down towards the mat. At the same time, you're drawing the left thigh, left knee down towards the floor. Good. Release, hugging the left knee in towards the chest. Bring the right knee to meet the left. One big squeeze to center. And then bring the hands behind the thighs. Just do a little rock back and forth along the spine until we come all the way up onto our mats. Come into a seated position. Bring the right leg out towards the right side of the mat and keep the left leg tucked in. This is where you might want to have some of your props handy. So for this, you could use your blocks. You could use a rolled up blanket. I'm actually going to grab my bolster. I like to use the bolster for this one. So I'll place my bolster right in front of me. Check in with the foundation we've set up here, drawing the left foot in, the right toes, right knee up towards the ceiling. Bring your hands behind the back just for a moment. Inhale, lengthen the spine, open across the chest. And then exhale, fold forward here. Notice where your body is at today. So maybe you move the props out of the way, come all the way down onto your forearms and begin to melt forward. Maybe you want a little more ease. You want to bring the ground closer to you today. You can rest those forearms on a bolster on your blocks. Just continue externally rotating through the thighs here. So the instinct is to let that leg, right leg, collapse down. Keep drawing the knee towards the ceiling, pointing the knee towards the ceiling, pointing the toes towards the ceiling. We'll stay here for a few rounds of breath. So continue lengthening through the spine on the inhales, releasing forward any amount more on your exhales. On your next inhale, begin to slowly upright the body. And then bring both legs in front of you. Take the heels down towards the earth, about a little wider than hips width distance. Bring the fingertips behind you just for a moment and windshield wiper the legs out in between. As you windshield wiper back and forth here, totally okay to let the hips lift. And then once you feel a little balanced out, come back to center. Bring that left leg out towards the side. Bring the right foot in towards center. Set up any props you need if you choose to use them. Fingertips behind you. Inhale, lengthen, open across the chest. Exhale, take it forward. Forearms down onto your prop or the floor. Left knee, left toes pointing towards the ceiling. Using our breath to guide us on our inhales, lengthening on our exhales, folding any amount more. Maybe your head comes close enough to rest onto the pillow with your hands. You also do have the option in your forward folds always to stack a block or turn a block onto its tallest height and rest the forehead there, just taking that tension out of the neck. On your next inhale, slowly upright the torso. Beautiful. This time, bringing both legs in towards center, soles of the feet connect in your Baddha Konasana, and leave a decent amount of space here. So, a lot of times in this position, we're hugging the feet in close towards the body. Make a little more of a longer diamond shaped here. We're going to do the same forward fold motion. So, first starting with the fingertips behind the back, inhale, open wide across the chest, and then exhale, forward fold. Again, use your props here, however is best going to assist you. I'm going to take a block right in front of my feet and then come to rest my forehead there. So, forearms down on the floor. Maybe you use your bolster here stacked on top of your feet. We want to bring in a good amount of healthy, positive sensation, but nothing forceful, nothing painful. So your props are really here as tools for you. Always making the pose work in the best way for your body and not forcing your body into any variation of the pose that you think you're supposed to accomplish or it's supposed to look like. There really is no such thing. So do what's best going to serve you today. Take one more inhale and exhale here. And then on your next inhale, we upright the torso. Let's set our props to the side here. So move your blocks, move your bolster out of the way. And then we'll come onto all fours just briefly, stacking shoulders over elbows over wrists, hips over knees. A nice little cat cow here. So drop the belly, heart forward, exhale, round and press. Inhale, dropping the belly, heart forward, exhale, round and press. Good. Take that one or two more times. And then reaching for your blanket. We're going to get this set up before we come into our downward facing dog. I want to have everybody try their pigeon pose with a blanket. You can always move it out of the way if it's not serving you. But everyone's blanket is going to be a little bit differently shaped. Mine gets pretty big, so I'm going to have it folded once and then folded again. And then rolling it, so keeping it the longest direction, roll it up so that it looks somewhat like this. Place this blanket roll down in about the middle of your mat. And then bringing yourself back into your tabletop position, tuck all 10 toes, lift the hips up and back, take a nice big downward facing dog. Just for a moment, maybe pedaling out the legs, bending one knee as you straighten the other, taking that back and forth. And we're just coming up in our downward facing dog to then move into our pigeon pose. So on an inhale, stretch that right leg up and back. On an exhale, bring that right knee in towards your chest and hover. From here, take the right shin in front of your blanket roll. And then begin to slowly lower yourself down. So the right hip is coming to rest on the blanket roll. If you need to adjust, change the position, move it however, go ahead and do that. And then before coming all the way down, wiggle that left foot back, staying on the ball of the foot. Give it a nice little wiggle to find more length through the left hip. And then once you're settled there, release that foot, fold forward. Feel free to use your blocks or your bolster to support the head here. You can come down onto your forearms or release all the way forward, melting the chest towards the floor. If you're finding that the blanket is not helping you to find more support in this pose, feel free to move it to the side. Just something different to try. You can find some more challenge in this posture by bringing the shin closer to parallel to the top of the mat. You can find a little more ease by bringing the shin in more towards the body. I'm going to be somewhere in the middle of that today. Really working into our hips in this practice. Our hips can become tight for a number of reasons. It can be through a lot of movement or physical labor. It can be through the opposite, maybe sitting a lot. Can come about as a result of feeling emotionally stuck. Whatever it is, it helps to stay in postures like pigeon for several rounds of breath. To let the poses work their magic. Let your breath work its magic. On your next inhale here, you can press yourself back up onto your palms. Tuck the left toes, lift that left knee, and then pressing through the palms, lift the right leg up and back, maybe bend the knee, open the hip, and then return to your downward facing dog. On an inhale, left leg floats. Exhale, left leg comes all the way forward. You can hug the knee in towards the chest first, just to help you find your alignment. And then take the left shin in front of the blanket roll if you're using it. Wiggle back on the ball of the right foot, lengthening out the posture. And then from there, exhale, release down. Again, you can use your blocks, your bolsters. Tap into those props. You can support yourself on your forearms or begin to melt all the way forward. This might feel a little different on this side than the other one. Using your breath as a tool here. Remembering how we felt the breath move into the chest and the low belly at the start of our practice together. Encouraging that same depth and expansion. And then on your next inhale, begin to slowly upright, pressing yourself into your palms, tuck the right toes, lift the right knee. Through the press of the palms, come back into your downward facing dog. You can send that left leg up, maybe bend the knee, open the hip, and then both legs down, downward facing dog. Nice big breath in your downward facing dog, lifting the hips towards the sky, lengthening the spine. And then return to your tabletop position. Knees come down. And let's move into a seat. We'll take a Gomukhasana pose here. So a nice option, modification, can be to create a seat with your blanket. Lift the hips a little bit. And we'll start first crossing the right leg over the left. So you're stacking right knee on top of left. Bring your hands to press down into your feet, sending your feet a little further away from each other. I find it helps to rock forward, bringing the legs closer together, and then return to my seat. Having that lift underneath you makes it a little more easeful to come into this. You can stay right here if this feels like enough, or inhale, lengthen, exhale, come forward. As always, grab your blocks, grab your bolster, grab your props. I like to keep my hands connected with my feet, pressing down and out into the feet. Next, inhale, upright. Exhale, uncross the legs. Good. Let's take left on top of right this time. Same thing. I find it's helpful to do the little rock forward, pressing into the feet, bringing the knees closer together. Option to stay right here, or option to fold forward on the exhale. Still drawing your seat down towards the mat, keeping that root even as we fold forward. On your next inhale, come to upright. Good. Take your blanket, if you were sitting on it, set it off to the side. And then let's come to lie all the way down on the mat. Legs all the way out, arms down by your sides. Let's take a little bit of a figure 8 motion in the sacrum so you can feel as if you're drawing a figure 8 with the sacrum, kind of rocking it back and forth. Might be a little bit easier with the feet planted on the floor, give you a bit more control. And just use that rocking motion to release any remaining tension that might be stored in the low back. Exploring what that feels like. Good. And then take the legs all the way out on the mat. Rock the thighs, the legs a bit back and forth, taking them in and out. Finally, finding a sense of stillness. Arms down by your sides, palms facing up towards the ceiling. Take one final scan of the body all the way from crown of the head down to soles of the feet. Big inhale here together. Exhale. Breathe, rest, shavasana. Begin to take some small movements back in the body. As always, if time allows, you can shut off this video and remain in your shavasana as long as you'd like. But otherwise, maybe wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, circle the feet. Reach the arms out past the ears, fingertips extending long, toes extending in the opposite direction. How long can you get? Hug both knees in towards the body. And then roll over to your favorite side, coming into the fetal position. Using the strength of that upper arm and keeping your eyes closed. Come to a comfortable seat on your mat. Bring your hands to heart center, chin towards chest. Tapping into your breath just like we did at the start of practice to help you shift, transition into this space. Let's use our breath to help us transition into the rest of our days. Taking 3 full breaths together. Inhale, fill the belly, fill the chest. Exhale, open, release. Inhale again. Final one. Allow the eyelids to gently flutter open. Thank you so much for coming to practice today, and I hope I see you again soon. Thanks so much.